I think this is this is the look that a lot of people are having right now with inventory going up. They're like, "What in the world is going on?" Glenn Stein, Realty Executives here. Hope you're doing well. It's Friday, and it's time for a market update. What's going on? Hope everybody's doing well. The one thing I'm going to tell you is 160, I think 165 properties on the market. It's the most we've seen in probably about a year. The most, actually, we've seen nearly 100% increase in inventory over the last 4 or 5 months. Or probably sometime January, I think is when we're like in the 80s. And be interesting to see what I said 5, 6 months ago, what the predictions were. But we're starting to see on a consistent basis every single week an increase in inventory. All of it, I think, is related to interest rates, because that's when inventory started to really pick up. When interest rates started to go up, so did inventory. And that's what we're seeing here in the villages. So it's very, very fascinating to see what's really happening around the villages. One thing I do want to address is not only we talked about the inventory count, the big thing I want to talk to you about is, okay, are we in a buyer's market or in a seller's market? So we're going to address that. It's very, very fascinating. And there's some clues that indicate that it is a buyer's market. There's several clues that say it's a seller's market, and then we're going to decide which one it really is. Be really interested to see. I want to see some comments from you guys. Let me know what you're seeing in your markets. If you're in the villages, if you're around the villages or in the villages, let me know what your perception is, and that'll be helpful for the people that are not in the market. And then, of course, for the people, if you're outside the villages, outside Florida, wherever you are, be interested to see what you're thinking and what you're seeing. What I'm seeing from a lot of the people that I connect with from around the country, they're telling me that it's still a seller's market. It's cooled off a little bit. Demand is still pretty good, pretty solid, pretty strong, just not as crazy as what it was before. Because if, looking at a chart, demand was up here, and we're going to look at some things that will support that up here for the last 18 months, almost pretty much 2 years, ever since COVID lockdown ended. And then now with interest rates going up, demand has cooled off a bit, but it's still above supply for the most part in general for the whole country. A little bit different here in the villages. Part of it is interest rate, part of it is time of year too, in a way. But what I am seeing is, if we take a look at, let's take a look at how many homes are actually selling right now. That's going to give you a good idea. So we are seeing, obviously, like I said, we're seeing an inventory increase. But now let's take a look at, what are we looking at for historic sales price trend? Average sales prices, median sales prices have gone up. Obviously, this is all the way, 2016, 2017. You're looking at all the way to 230. 1 month it was 240, but mostly 230 by the end of that year. So now let's look at more recent years, and what we saw in most recent years. If we take a look at this, we'll scroll down here, and we're going to look at most recent years: 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Average sales price, look, going from 230 now, median price rather, 372, meaning as many homes, equal number of homes sold under 372 as they did over 372. This is the middle number of all the sales that occurred. And if you look at past April's, 372 being the high so far in the marketplace in the villages, Florida, 281, 249, 245, 229. That gives you an idea that average sales price is. This is also kind of a reflection for average sales price and median sales price also going up at the same time. Okay, let's look at sales. So if we start looking at sales, we start looking at some things that will give us a little bit of a clue as to whether we are in a buyer's market. Now, according to several different sources, as far as how do you determine whether we're in a buyer's market or a seller's market, it's usually the rule of thumb is 6 months or more of inventory. 6 months or more of inventory. That's the typical idea of whether we are in a buyer's market or a seller's market. And if we look at this, this indicates here we're looking at May of this year, 151 homes sold in MLS in the villages, 165 in April, 177. So we're seeing, you know, January starting off the year, 131 was really low, but typically January is really the lowest, if not the lowest, one of the lowest, one of the 2 or 3 lowest months of sales in the year, because December is the leading indicator. February, March, it increases. Then April, May tend to wane down a little bit, and June tends to spike up a little bit. As you can tell, this actually just gives us, excuse me, just to let you know, this is live and there's no editing going on. So, you know, 268 last year. You know, 2021 was obviously the craziest and most volume heavy month, or year rather, in the villages. 2022, obviously, market has come down a bit as far as sales, but the average sales price has gone up. So we're looking at less units, volume being, actually the volume is actually a little bit more than last year. So volume as in, you know, you take the number of units and you multiply that by sales price, and that's how you get the volume. The volume being higher because the average and obviously the median sales price, as we looked at, has increased in the villages. So hence more volume. Now, number of sales, this gives you an idea. Now, just to give you perspective, now look at this May number. Obviously, we're not done with May. We're a couple more days. This I anticipate to be at least 30, 40. We're probably going to be right around 190-ish is what I'm anticipating. That being the case, much more. Let's take out 2020. Obviously, can't use 2020. 2021, I don't think we could use either, because that was just a bananas year on the complete opposite side of 2020. But look at 2019, 2018 numbers. These numbers are much bigger. This number here, 2022, is much bigger than the 19 and the 18 numbers, because right now it's May 27th. We still have 3-4 more days, and we have closings for today and closings for Tuesday. Happy Memorial Day, by the way, for everybody. So this is very interesting. So this year, better units, better sales numbers this year versus 2019 and 2018. That gives you an idea of what you're looking at. Okay. Now, with this in mind, are we in a buyer's market? Or are we in a seller's market? Okay, that's the next thing we need to look at. Are we in a buyer's market or are we in a seller's market? So remember, 6 months supply of homes or more, then basically you're looking at a buyer's marketplace. It seems like that we are in a buyer's market. Why? Because we were moving 180 miles per hour. Things were selling in 3 minutes, and now they're not. They're taking a little bit longer, right, to sell. So with these numbers in mind, if you take, let's say 180, even once, let's take 160, because that's what we're looking at as far as the number of homes on the market right now. That tells you a lot of different things. What does it tell you? It tells you that we have approximately 1 month supply of homes, and actually slightly less, probably a couple of days less. How do we know that? Well, we know that in each month right now in the villages on MLS, we're seeing that the clip is 150. Actually, we're looking at about 170 to 180. That's the number of homes that are selling right now. We're looking at the May numbers. 165 was the number for April. And now we're looking at right around the 160, 165 mark as far as active properties. What does that mean? If no other properties were to come on the market, it would take 1 month or 30 days to actually get rid of all the homes on the market if no other homes came on the market. That's telling us we've got right around 1 month. That being the case, that tells us we're in an extreme hot market. Hot market. It's really hot. It's like going outside. It's 100 degrees. It's really hot. But wait a second, Glenn. It was 120 degrees before. We dropped 20 degrees. That's exactly what we're looking at. We've dropped, we're dropping the number of sales from last year. Volume is still high because of the average sales price, the median sales price, but number of sales, number of people buying, significantly less than last year. Interest rates have gone up, so it feels like we're in a slow marketplace. This is a buyer's marketplace. No, we've cooled up tremendously, but it's still really, really hot. So if we were to keep up this pace, let's say we were at 150 sales for simplicity's sake every single month. In order for us to be in a buyer's marketplace, we would have to be, according to the common definitions, we'd have to be at 900 homes on the market. We're not anywhere close. Okay, that would be tremendous. Like, wow, that'd be like incredible buyer's market, I think, at that point. So, maybe we need to rethink. It's possible we need to rethink the definition. And even if we were to take that conservatively and say, okay, 3 months supply of homes would be a buyer's market, that still would be at this pace of sales, unless sales comes down and inventory goes up, still would be 450 homes, which is where we were, by the way, just before COVID, right? Actually, just after COVID, rather. When the market was still trending up, we still had a lot of inventory just after COVID. In the summer, fall of 2020, we were right at 451. That was probably a buyer's market at that point, a little bit more of a buyer's market. And then we became an extreme seller's market with the run up in sales. So as always, if you have any questions at all about the marketplace, obviously our site is buysellthevillages.com. That's our site. And if you have questions, connect with me, 352-572-3796. Been in the market forever, it seems like 17, 18 years now, 18 years. Yep, 18 years. It'll actually be 18 years in the fall. So if you have questions, please let me know. All right. Hope everybody has a great Memorial Day weekend. Also, put it in the chat. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your market looks like. Really interested to know. I've got my hands on about 40 different marketplaces around the country because I connect with different people, and I'm hearing mostly the same. If you're hearing something different, that would be good to know. All right. Take care.